We are at war, ladies and gentlemen. Well, for those of us in the US, we've known that, obviously. But no, I mean war within the League of Legends space. Why? Because of one man.
I want it to be the biggest fantasy league. I'm close. David Shynock and the Shynokers are beating us by 100 people currently.
Oh.
Yes, Jat and JLXP are trying to take the title of most followed, most up to, whatever you want to call it, LCS Fantasy League that is over on lcsofficial.gg. If you want to sign up for the Shynokers so we can keep this title ahead of him, it'll be down in the description below. I'll cover fantasy picks here in a minute. We got our stuff to talk about first, and I will be giving out a free skin as we always do, which, by the way, the winner of last split, you just reach out to me, put it either in the comments or elsewhere. I just need a screenshot to show that it's you, and I'll give you a free skin. I haven't been able to get a hold of them through Discord, so don't quite know how to get in contact otherwise. But this is David versus Goliath, okay? Now, I fully expect him to be able to beat me. There are some people that are going to say, oh, well, you're bigger on TikTok. He's got 230,000 followers on Twitter. If even 1% of them sign up, he beats the crap out of me. So yes, this is very much David versus Goliath. Anyways, welcome back, everybody. Season debut or season midway point, but it's all the same season. Welcome back to the pit. Now, to kick things off at the beginning of every split, Paul and I over on the Crossover Podcast do what we do every time, which is rank every player 1 to 8, including the team. So yes, this is my formal prediction on where things are going to go. This always causes controversy on Twitter. People are like, why in the world do you have Gakos at 8? He's not 8. Jan was playing like the 6th best player in lock-in. How are you having him second? This is entirely a prediction on where we think they will end up at the end of the split. So this is the full season. And this is obviously predicting a lot of storylines that we don't know whether they're going to happen or not. This is an entire guess. But the reason why this ranking is the way it is because we believe, and I personally believe, that Team Liquid is going to rebound pretty heavily this split. That the conversion between scrims and stage games is finally going to get itself figured out as they have more games, more time, and are just naturally more skilled. The one that most people are upset about that I've seen is having FlyQuest so low, to which I'd say this is where they will get exposed a little bit more. And yes, they have more time to practice together, but it is going to take more than just a split and a half, basically, to get these guys into LCS, like, top 3 contention form. Yes, I do think Gakos laned pretty badly last split. Do I think that continues this split? I just think the other pieces around, like the other top laners, when I look at this list, I think they have the ability to step up a little bit more, and it's just going to take time for Gakos specifically to develop. Core JJ, I was honestly going to put lower down, but Paul convinced me it's like, we can't do that to Core right now. Even if he has a bad split, I feel like the bad is still going to be better than a few people. And yeah, you're reading that right. I got C9 at 4th. My prediction is that I think C9 gets beat by one of these squads, either Sentinels, DSG, or FlyQuest in playoffs, that puts them in that 4th place spot. That team elevates a little bit, tries to hit their ceiling a little bit more, and it actually does inspire a roster change from C9. That is my prediction for the end of this split and how it goes. And FlyQuest being so low, I don't think they make a change. Shopify being as low as they are, I think that also triggers a change on their roster. If Fudge or Contracts or somebody else can't step up, Zinni I don't think is in any risk. But like, this is my formal prediction on how this split is going to go. We can circle back on this after we're all said and done. But yeah, this is this is going to anger some people. I do want to remind people again coming into this weekend that I will not be live for the co-stream on Saturday. Likely, family's in town, going golfing with my dad, and then my parents and everybody will be back. I don't think I'm going to be able to co-stream on Saturday. I can't commit to it. But Sunday, I will be live again. But I'll also be live at the bar at OSNYC in New York City, where we will be watching Sunday's games all together. It is Easter Sunday. I do understand. But it still should be a fun time if you want to come out, if you have nothing else that you're doing or nothing else going on. Should be entertaining. But let's kick it over to LCS Fantasy. Again, the link for the Shynokers will be in the description down below. Top person in the league gets a skin. Now, this is the single most important week that you can have in fantasy, purely because if you mess up that first week, it screws your economy for later in the season. Like, trying to get that very high value low buy early on is incredibly important. Now, the timing of these matchups obviously in the first week is going to be important because you are seeing Lion versus C9, which makes picking one of like arguably the top 2 teams in most people's minds a little bit iffy. TL, I think if you want to lock in these guys and you think that they're going to be good for fantasy, I do think this is the time that you grab them if you can, which is why, Yawn, I'm placing my faith in you, man. I'm fully believing that this is going to be the split that we get back on form and back on track. Let's give you the Aphelios, because why not? All of the C9 players tend to be a little bit higher, so coach-wise, I'm going to try and grab... wait, what? Oh, that's right over for line. I'm going to grab C9 now and ride this out till the end of the split till I can trade it in and get a much cheaper option or price from there. Support, I think you can save a little bit of money on. Dignitas versus Shopify Rebellion is going to be an interesting one. I think Ignore is a really good playmaker. He's now had time. I'm expecting him to show up this week, and I think that should buy me enough time to hopefully pull something out here with some of my other picks. Also, getting him on Blitzcrank. It's not the most popular pick in the world, but sometimes Ignore likes to pull that out to mess with people. Now, arguably one of the most important positions in mid. This is a point getter for you if you're good. The question is, do you trust Saint? He has his int moments. I mean, pretty much everybody does. Actually, I kind of feel like Darkwings might be a steal this week. If I can get him and lock him in for a slightly cheaper price, throw him on, say, Oriana, because he likes to control mages, I think that's fine. That gives me 36, so I have like an average of 18 points that I can grab for this. Dokla, I do not think is going to be worth 20 points in this particular battle. I can actually grab Thanatos early, who's pretty good in terms of fantasy points. Nobody else below him that I like really want to take. You know what? Let's lock that in. And then jungle, that leaves us 17.5, which means we can get pretty much anybody except for the top 3 junglers. So this is where you need to take a risk, and I think that risk is actually going to come in the form of Hambach, who I believe is going to have a pretty good split if my player rankings are correct in any way, shape, or form. We'll throw him on the Jarvan. That leaves up 1. I could, in theory, grab Lion. If I think that Lion's going to be good, I could grab him. That's the 1-point differential, and then I never have to sell that ever again. Do I do it? I don't even have any Lion players. I've got what? It's Dignitas, TL. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to grab. Bam. There we go. And a 20% variety buff. Hell yeah. I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. All right. Thanatos, Hambach, Darkwings. So I'm going with the mid-jungle duo of Sentinels, which I think is like a pretty good pairing. Yawn, Ignar. Okay. You know what? I like this. I'm fine with it. Now, for the matchups this weekend, even though my end of split rankings are obviously going to project one thing, I do think early on, it will be another. Starting with C9 versus Lion. I know this is one where most people are going to be high off of Lion. Inspired's still the best player in the region. This just feels like one where every time that we see teams go international and come back, there's a little bit of a hangover. Now, both of these teams technically went international, but I feel like for C9, there's a little bit more of a fire under their ass. Maybe it's just because I've watched their documentary over on YouTube, which if you have not seen, you need to. Dom really kind of like lays in that like their practice is the problem. And that seems to also be a problem with TL, who talk, but it's a completely different version of the problem. For C9, they're not putting themselves in situations come late game to be able to practice, which is why they're not able to win from behind. For TL, they're winning too quickly, and they don't know how to play those mid-game situations when they're not stupidly far ahead, apparently, or at least that's the perception that we got from their documentary series. So I actually think with the chip on their shoulder and just wanting to prove it a little bit more, I think that this actually goes to C9, because both of these teams in theory are going to be like more worried about the end of the season. It is important for this matchup in terms of the tiebreaker for end of split to make sure that you get the higher seed, either 1 or 2. Both of these will be contending for it. And I don't know, I'm just feeling C9 on this one. Couldn't exactly tell you why. We don't have any stats yet. It's just purely gut feeling when it comes to week 1. For DSG versus Sentinels, again, another really close one. Like these two, in terms of the playoff format, might be competing for that 4th seed in the region. And because of that, this one's going to matter a lot. And I really hope that DSG levels up. Like as of right now, this is going to be pretty heavily Sentinels favored for most people. But I want to see this DSG bot lane continue to grow. So Jed showed me enough signs in just Lock-in alone to be really excited about him. But he is going against a bot lane that will punish you in Huhi and Rahel. And we saw towards the end of Lock-in that, yes, this DSG bot lane, if you focus them, if you die them, if you set them behind a little bit, the rest of the team can't pick up the weight in any way, shape, or form, or at least not to the level that you need to. I'm not 100% sold on Lions specifically in the support role, but a win here would go a long way. I don't see it happening though. I'm going Sentinels on this one pretty easily. I just want it to be close. Like I want this series to be close more than anything, even if I do fully believe that Sen will take it. TL versus Lion, I think on paper is the most lopsided matchup of the weekend. Team Liquid should be favored in this by all metrics. FlyQuest still does need time to grow both on stage and individually. Jose Dioto, I think, would look like the best player on Team Liquid from lock-in. And if you're comparing that to Griffin, who had a little bit more volatility, I would favor TL on that. But the bot lane here should be interesting to watch. Yon and Core JJ versus Cryogen and Masu. That should be TL favored, especially if TL continues to keep picking early game comps that they should get advantages with. But we'll see. I don't know. The top lane, I think it's just going to be the biggest difference for me. Like if you're asking me between Morgan and Gatkos based on what we've seen so far, as well as some of the practice that they will get now that Morgan has a full split without any travel concerns and beyond, yeah, I just think this is going to be a 2-0 TL and not particularly close. If FlyQuest can put up a fight, as long as TL doesn't look sloppy doing so, fine with that. But obviously, I'm also biased on this, so I'm not going to hide that. And finally, unironically, the most important matchup of the week. Like, do not sleep on Dig versus Shopify. Why? Because most of us have these two squads anywhere between 6th and 8th. This matchup here could be the determinant of which of these teams makes playoffs later in the split without any major upsets, without getting hot in any capacity. This is without a doubt like the must-watch series. I know people might not click on it, but I'm telling you, like, this just has insanely high stakes for the first week of the regular season, even if people won't realize it until later. And with Shopify, you're just looking at this like, can the Shopify that we expected to see at lock-in show up here? In my opinion, obviously, Zinni is going to be given more time, even if he still isn't playing great. The onus is entirely on contracts in the top side in Fudge. Like, you are the two veterans that need to be able to pull this roster through as your younger players develop. I wouldn't really consider the bot lane, younger developing, but the bot lane's actually going to be a fascinating one to watch as well. You have Ignar and FBI, who historically have a very good history playing together, even if Ignar, has had some time off. And FBI, I think, just looks solid all around, even when he was with 100 Thieves. Not the strongest player, but definitely not the weakest either. Going against Bvoy and Seos, who Bvoy has had these high highs that could be top 3 in the league. Seos really hasn't proven himself all that much. So I think this could go pretty heavily in Dignitas's favor in the bot lane. So you need somewhere else on the map to go your favor for Shopify to pull you through to the mid or late game. And if it's not going to be Zinni, it's got to be Fudge and contracts making plays. Weirdly enough, like, I feel like this could be Dig favored early. For some reason, I just get this feeling that Dig can pull off some of these close wins, but then we'll just get absolutely body blasted by everybody else above them. Whereas like Shopify, I could see a world where they just magically upset a top team out of nowhere. I don't know. Give me Dignitas on this one. Shorter episode this week, not as much to talk about. I also have so many other things going on. There's not as many headlines that happened this week nor stories that were really around North America. We're kind of in a holding pattern. So shorter episode of The Pit this week. I'll be back next week as well. Again, co-stream on Sunday, watch party on Sunday in New York City, and be sure to join the Shy Knockers as well as drop a like on this video. I'm asking way too much of y'all. I'm sorry. I'll stop doing that. I'll limit it to one thing a video going forward. Thank you all. See you around.